Good afternoon, this is Jeff with Sewer Tech Northwest. Today we're at 1695 Broadway Street Northeast here in Salem. We're located in the basement of the home. We're up against the rear left corner of the house. Well, I guess that's if you're staring at the side the driveway goes out to. I guess this might be the front left corner, but anyway, you've only got one stack down here. We're at the main stack coming down, going through 4-inch cast iron. We're going to check the overall condition and serviceability of the sanitary sewer line. We'll have water running here in just a moment, and we're going to zero out right here at the base of the cleanout. In this area in here, if I back up a little ways, you've got significant scale buildup here. You've lost, at least an inch of the diameter of the pipe there where all that scale comes down. That makes it more likely that something's going to hang up there. At the least, I would recommend descaling. But we'll see how everything looks when we come back out at the end now. Some water's gone through there. So we've got, it looks like, yeah, that appears to be a root intrusion there and dirt in the line. Looks like we're transitioning pipe materials here over to, appears to be clay. And then now I believe we're in, yeah, we're still in clay pipe. More roots there. You're probably going to see a lot of them on this house. More roots there. Yeah, and you have a break somewhere in the sewer line. All the water wasn't even making it over the top of that. Yeah, this line is absolutely destroyed at this point. And your water flow is not keeping up with the camera. And there was a couple areas in the cast iron before we even got outside the house where the water flow, and I wasn't even moving my camera very quickly, the water flow wouldn't keep up with the camera. So it's possible we may have some issues on the interior of the home as well. I'll try and see if I can look inside the clean-out access to see if, make sure the bottom of the pipe isn't rotted out. And now we're into PVC pipe. That's likely where the city has updated their end of the line. And that looks like the main that we're approaching. We can get some of the cobwebs off the camera here. Alright, there's the main 78 feet. We're going to go locate that while the pipe drains out. But at this rate, for sure the entire exterior line needs to be replaced. And possibly some issues on the interior here that need to be dealt with as well. We'll see here in a moment. Alrighty, I was able to pick up kind of a bouncy, weak signal. It looks like the line is going out to the roadway that the driveway goes out to. I'll try and get the name of that. I think Broadway is the one that faces out to the front of the house. And I'm going to have to go do another set of locates here. The camera is pitched at too hard of an angle to actually locate properly and get a depth. We got to pull back here a little ways. And I on the top of my head, I cannot remember if the city out here takes responsibility in the roadway. But I'll start my markings here at 67 feet where the camera's actually sitting flat in the line. In fact, the PVC pipe here, that's fine. In fact, I'm going to take the locates back even further than that. I just want to give it one more look over here now. We don't have any junk on the camera lens. So everything that's leading down into the main here, this vertical drop, looks like it's in good shape and draining well. So this stuff I'm not concerned about, but everything from the clay at least the clay pipe back to the foundation wall is in dire need of repair. 100% of the water we put down the line is escaping the pipe. Now the drop made it out to the main. So we'll start the locates here at the transition at 66 feet. I'll be using white marking paint. Alrighty, so straight out from the driveway and the roadway, you'll see a big rectangle-shaped patch. That's where they cut the concrete or asphalt to install this last bit of the sewer line here. So we're right up against the edge of that, and my locator is indicating around 5 foot 5 inches deep. Seems a little bit shallow considering we're leaving at basement level, so we're going to do a few more locates here to make sure that depth is correct. And a lot of times when you've got lines like this, especially if you're responsible all the way to the roadway, I recommend you look into a pipeliner. The problem here is the water flow is so terrible and it's escaping the sewer line that there's no way for me to tell whether any of these areas have bellies in them. I can't trust any of it because I don't know where water is escaping and not escaping. So it's not a circumstance where I would look into an epoxy liner. I would recommend doing this traditionally, excavate or burst the old one out of the way. And here we're about 2 feet from the street curb in the grass curb strip where the trees are planted along the roadway, getting a depth here of 6 feet. And the ground is built up higher on property than it is in the roadway, so it looks like those depths are coming in accurately. Now we're at a depth here of 5 foot 6, and given that the depth is staying as consistent as it is, more than likely if all these joints were sealed, I think you'd have a lot of standing water in the sewer line. Alrighty, and also 5 foot 6 here. So basically we're getting almost an identical depth from the foundation wall all the way out to the main. And this transitions here right at the I'll put a T marking here just to indicate that. And I've marked that with a T marking. That's just to indicate the transition, not necessarily where the repair in its entirety will stop here. You're getting some fairly significant scale and pitting throughout the cast iron here, top and bottom. by and large, the cast iron pipe here looks like it's intact, but it's showing a lot of scale and pitting and wear and tear on it. At this point in this line's existence, I would recommend the entire main line be updated, not just the exterior, but the interior as well. Obviously, the interior is functioning a lot nicer than the exterior pipe is. But when you start getting scale buildup like we have up here, most of the time your scale is literally the pipe material itself breaking down. And so like spots like this where you have significant scale buildup, for one thing, I mean, you could run a machine through and try and descale the sewer line. When it's like this, it's gonna take that much more life off of it, and you could very well damage it in the process. And getting the scale out of the sewer line is another issue. So I would recommend a full update from the stack all the way to the transition at 66 feet in the street. I don't have anything I can mark the floor with down here. All I have is paint, so you would have to relocate down here under the floor. I just did a whole bunch of talking there with the microphone turned off. But if I don't know if you caught it a moment ago, I'll try and redo it here. But when I turn the water back on, and I get in about 3-4 feet or so into the sewer line, the water flow stops, and then it takes a few seconds for it to catch back up again with no objects in the line impeding its flow. And the camera doesn't do that. The water will just go right around it. But I'm seeing the water flow start and stop. That's the second time I've seen it since I got into the line here. I'll try and show that one more time while the microphone's turned on. And we'll try and catch this again here. The tricky part is when you have open joints, the ground around it can only accept so much water into it before it gets totally saturated. The water is starting to catch up here. Anyway, I've caught it on camera 2 different times, right when we get into the sewer line, and then a moment ago when I realized my mic wasn't turned on. And I've got a reasonable amount of water volume running down the line too, and this just to me is not matching up with the water I'm running currently. Anyway, I'm going to recommend, again, a full update to the cast iron and to the clay portions of the main line here. It would appear that you've got at least one open joint down here, and a line of this age, I wouldn't mess around with spot repairing it anymore. I recommend a full update. And that's as best I can tell. I can't see an obvious joint right where it's seeping out, but you've got rust buildup and stuff over pipe joints, and it could be on a turn where the camera doesn't get a good view. That appears to be going on, though. After any repair work is done, I highly recommend rescoping the sewer line to check the work.